Hello and welcome to Divisive Unity. It's a channel that I'm going to devote to probably mostly rants about politics. I felt like I needed to do this. Mostly for myself, honestly. Because of just the state of the country that I live in. The state of Europe in general. I'm a Swede. I'm one of those disgusting Swedish fucking just I don't even know what to say. I'm so frustrated with this. But yeah, I suppose I'll just go ahead and do my first rant here. So the first one is a Swedish story. I figured, probably a good place to start. Why the hell not? And it's from DN Opinion, right? So these fucking people, not these people, these are, you got the king here, the queen, the crown princess, and whatever, whoever the rest of these fucks are, but basically, we shouldn't celebrate the National Day. It's just a show, right? What is this? What is this? I know it's an opinion. DN is basically today's news in Sweden. It's a major newspaper, published online and delivered in paper format. So, let's see. We should stop celebrating the national holiday. Nothing good has ever come from nationalism or patriotism. Really. Already, just really, nothing good has ever come from nationalism or patriotism. Just, what fucking little bubble do you live in where this is a true statement? I know, you don't read Swedish. Nor should you, because it's frankly, there's no reason to want to emulate this disgusting fucking behavior. So why would you want to learn a language represented by those people? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Neither the church should participate in the celebration of the national state if it's supposed to, avoid exploitation by right populist powers. I mean, just what? Look, I don't like the church. I'm not religious. I'm not a religious guy. I don't care for religion. In fact, I think it's a waste of time at best. At best, right? But to say that the church shouldn't participate in the celebration of the national state, right? What is the national... I mean, the national state, that's just the government. You're just saying, yeah, we probably shouldn't celebrate the government within itself. We should critique it. That's really what any democracy should do to its state. We should constantly critique it. And celebrating that might not be a good idea. But we should probably deserve, participating in celebrating the state which allows us our freedoms, which allows us the benefits of the society that we live in, despite its many, many flaws, which I'm probably going to end up covering eventually on this channel, because there's so much to be frustrated about. So much. Anyway, let's move on. It's nothing. It's just drivel. National romance, forming the images of Sweden as a nation, belonging and patriotism. The National Day and its celebration 12 years after it became a holiday, a red day, a day where people don't have to work, is a failure. Okay, why? Let's find out why, shall we? It is and continues to be a constructed and show of something which should belong to the past. What? I don't... Okay, whatever. The national state is a way to organize and administrate, but nothing to keep sacred. You know, yeah, it's probably... You shouldn't keep it sacred, and I can see that. That's fine. That's fair. That's fine. But how is it a way to, like, administrate? I can see organisation like you organise a national spirit and a pride for your nation, a pride for your country, which really, yeah, fine. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with patriotism? What's wrong with being proud of your country? Now, I'd agree that, you know, you perhaps shouldn't take, how to put this in a good way, perhaps you shouldn't take pride in your country's accomplishments for your own part, because perhaps you didn't even help work towards those accomplishments, so you really have no reason to take pride in them. However, to be proud of something, to be proud of your country, what is wrong with that? Because it imbues a sense of nationalism, because it imbues a sense of patriotism. What's wrong with that? Anyway, nothing good has come from nationalism or patriotism. Rather, they are like a poison spreading throughout the minds of men, putting peoples and countries against each other. Really? You think so? You think that nationalism and patriotism is what does that? Not classism, perhaps? Not ideologies opposing one another about economics or religion? You think nationalism and patriotism is what puts people at odds with each other? Right, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I'm so fucking frustrated with this shit. Like, this might seem like a small thing, and I get that. It might seem like a small thing, but I'm so fucking fed up and frustrated with this. This forced inclusion, this forced unity, it's horrible. Like, no, this isn't what puts people at odds with each other. Differing interests is what put people at odds with each other. Vary, like, interests, whether it be economic, strategic, whatever, it doesn't matter. If there's a conflict of interest, there's going to be a conflict. Whether that conflict turns violent or not, well, that's probably up to the diplomats and the leaders of the nation at the time. But nationalism and patriotism, they aren't ideologies. They aren't. In the name of nationalism and patriotism, sons have been sent to... No. Well, yeah. Yes, that's true. Sent to war, by the way, sorry. That's true, yeah. In times of war, nations tend to be more patriotic and more nationalistic, because guess what? You're fighting for your nation, and frankly, that's a good way to motivate people. Hey, you want to protect your homes? Well, let's, join the fight. Fight the enemy. It's just how humans work. And, it's easier to kill an enemy who you see as perhaps subhuman even. Now, I'm not saying that anyone, any human being in the world is inferior to another. I mean, people have different qualities, and, just objectively, your average Joe Blow on the street ain't no Einstein, so that fucking Joe Blow is inferior in probably the field of physics and mathematics than Einstein was. Now, they might be a much better plumber than Einstein was, and so they're superior to Einstein in that regard. You see what I'm saying? Like, people are superior and inferior in different regards. It depends on what we're talking about. But no human being is worth less inherently than another human being. Ugh. I hate that I have to clarify some of this stuff, right? Because I know it's going to be taken out of context. I know that people are going to misinterpret what I'm saying. Like, oh, this guy's a fucking racist. You know what? No, I'm not. But there is such a thing as inferior cultures. And frankly, despite its many problems, Western cultures are just superior. They just are. In my ever so humble opinion, of course. Perhaps not entirely humble. More frustrated than anything, really. Anyway, patriotism has its background in the patriarchal thinking, which celebrates traditional maleness, such as strength, or, male attributes, I suppose, such as strength, competition, division, or inequality, I suppose, and reduces men to soldiers and women to breeding machines, mothers. So we can hear it's pretty clear that whoever wrote this is a fucking feminist. Whoever wrote this is a fucking feminist. You think? Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, no. Fan-fucking-tastic, right? Patriotism has its background in the patriarchal thinking, which celebrates traditional maleness, male attributes such as strength, competition, and inequality, and it reduces men to soldiers and women to, basically the birth of children. What is this? Who the fuck thinks that this is the case? Do you really think that there is a patriarchal system that exists in this nation today? A patriarchal thought, a general thought throughout society that just surges through society, celebrating typical male fucking attributes such as strength, a competing spirit, and inequality. How the fuck? Oh my god. Okay. I can see strength. I cede the point that strength is a traditional male attribute. Because guess what? Men are stronger than women. In a general sense, yes. There are lots of women which are stronger than lots of men. But in a general sense, men are stronger than women. And there's a reason for this. And guess what? The reason is biological. It is evolutionary. It's got nothing to do with your fucking equality, feminazi politics. It is... oh my god. A spirit of competition. What in... yeah, because as we know, women have no sense of competition. Women don't compete at all with anything, really. How is this who thinks like this? Who honestly thinks that women don't have a sense of competition. Of course they do. Every life form on the goddamn planet has a sense of competition, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be alive. Right? There's a... oh my god, these fucking fags revving their engines outside as well. I get so worked up about this. It's so incredibly frustrating. Like, who honestly just sits down and writes this, believing it, spreading it like the cancer it is? It's horrible. What is wrong with people? In all facets of life, people compete. In today's world, you might compete for a job. 2,000 years ago, you might compete for a scrap of food so you can live for another day. Animals compete all the time for mates, for food, for survival. They compete with, other members of its species, other members of its pack, if they're pack animals, and against other species, other animals. And human beings are animals. We are. And we compete. Women compete for mates, same as men. Women compete for jobs, same as men. Women compete for a social standing within their groups, same as men. I don't understand who thinks like this. Does he really believe that there's a thought system that believe that women don't have a spirit of competition? Idiot. And inequality. Yeah. A traditional male attribute is inequality. I mean, just for fuck's sake, oh my god, these fucking bastards revving their engines right outside my window. Ugh. Whatever, deal with it, I suppose. But yeah, a traditional male attribute being inequality. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I don't understand. I just don't get it. Like, who the fuck thinks like this? Do you really think that there are people out there who think that inequality, is a value worth holding on to? That's not... Yeah, it might be traditional, it might be traditional, but I don't think it's necessarily male. It's more of a cultural thing, a societal thing. Back when, I genuinely think that this might be a holdover. Now, I'm not a huge history buff. I know some shit. I read a lot about World War One, some things about World War Two. But yeah, I'm not a huge history buff. But I know this. During the early stages of human civilization, women tended to, since they gave birth to children, tended to stay at home with those children while the men were out hunting, perhaps gathering, eventually working the fields, right? This created different roles, both vital, mind you, both vital to the survival of those societies. Honestly, I'm not sure where I'm going with that. It's just... That's not just a... Yeah, it might be a tradition, but it's also practically applicable and it's practically explainable. Inequality. Yeah, it used to exist. I don't think when women get the right to vote during the early 20th century, it works the opposite way in Sweden, where, like you say, the 19th century is the 1900s. Well, whatever, it's early 20th century in Sweden. Which is fairly late, but whatever. They've had the right to vote for 100 years now, so whatever. Whatever. And it reduces men to soldiers and women to breeders well, basically breeders, whatever. That's just flat out idiotic on its own. I've talked so long about this shit that I'm not even going to address that point. Whatever. You can hate me for it, I don't care. It says itself that this does not create good prerequisites for a world without borders. Okay? So not only are you a feminist, you're a globalist. Fantastic. A world without borders, everyone. Such a fantastic idea. Let's just shut down the borders. Shall we remove our defences as well? We'll just go ahead and open the gates. Anyone, feel free to come in. We've done that in this country already. Practically. And you know what the result is? Massive spikes of criminality accompanied by the immigration. I'm not anti-immigration, by the way. I'm not. I'm really not. If you want to immigrate to this country, which I wouldn't see why at this point, but if you wanted to, you should be free to do so, provided that you've got something to do here, provided that you want to make a life for yourself here, and not just live off the horribly broken welfare system that we have. Live off the teat of the state and thereby the good intentions of the taxpayers. I think that's frankly disgusting. It's horrible. Massive immigration of a foreign culture. The import of a foreign culture. The import of foreign values. In particular, Muslim values. Muslim culture. I mean, for God's sake, we see this all throughout Europe. Oh my God, who are these fucking douchebags, right? Who just sit outside in their fucking cars all day, just loud music, revving their engines. What's the point? I don't see the point. If you like doing that, fuck off. Fuck you. Not really. If you enjoy it, whatever. Feel free. But it doesn't really hurt anyone. It's just it doesn't really hurt. But that's aside. It's a whatever. I live in not a bad neighborhood. Basically central, in the middle of a city. So yeah, and this apartment is far from soundproof. So fun times. Audio issues. Beside the point. Let's move on. Right. So, world without borders. Yeah, the massive import of fucking bullshit cultures and foreign values. Now, I wouldn't mind foreign values. I really wouldn't. We could use with some British values, for example. Holy shit. Anyway. Surely we have to be allowed to be proud and like our country. Of course we can. We can show it in many ways by contributing to the collective good. Use our right to speech, demonstrate, and manifest. To take out, Dad's day off. Dad's days off. What's that? It's like after you've had a kid, you get a certain amount of days free from work, paid from work in Sweden, and both parents get this, not only the mother. Now, I think that the parents can distribute it however they want. So if the mother wants to take all of them and the dad doesn't want any, you can do that, and vice versa. I'm not sure though, so don't quote me on that. I'm not a parent. And enjoy, flourishing parks and nature. Well, of course, completely agree. Yes. Whatever. I don't see how taking your parents' days off is necessarily an act of being proud, but in fact, I don't see how any of this is an act of being proud. It's more, just doing the standard things that we can do in our society. And they're all good things. I really do think that they're all good things, yeah. Anyway, Christian faith and the church can be an opposing force if we once and for all make a settlement with it, and the rotten nationalism and patriotism which so often is tied to the church. Yes, because as we all know, the church is so nationalistic. It's not, religious. I think the church's goal is more of a religious unity throughout the borders of nations. I'm pretty sure that's what the church wants. Historically, that's what the church wanted anyway. You notice that throughout the medieval times. Sorry. Church tithes, the Roman Catholic Church collected tithes all throughout Europe, all throughout the nations. The nations, if anything, were subject to the influences of the powers of the Pope, of Rome, what am I saying? The Vatican, not Rome, the Vatican. Anyway, all too often has the church been a synonym with the Swedish. All too often, the church has become a synonym for the Swedish. Yeah. Because Sweden doesn't have a fucking huge percentage of forced inclusion and immigration. Sweden certainly doesn't have a 90%, well, perhaps not anymore with the massive import of people, but we used to have a 95% atheism count, I think, which is the way it should be, right? I think that's the way it should be. It's good to have a small opposition to challenge your views, and you should be open to take that challenge and try and, you should be able to consider other point of view, and if you're wrong, then you should, be able to figure that out. That's a good thing. But to say that the church has become a synonym to the Swedish, no, you're insane. What is wrong with you? What would you think this? When? Where? How? I've never seen anyone call fucking, equivocate Sweden with the Swedish people with the church. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyway. Oh, fuck. Therefore, the church should abstain from celebrating so-called national days, God services, or participating in other events of national day character. Let me ask you something. People who are religious in this country, who go to the church of Christian faith, are they Swedes? Are they not, part of the nation? And citizens of the nation? Should they not be allowed to celebrate the nation in which they reside? Which, by the way, you've previously stated that we should be allowed to be proud of and like. So why not celebrate it? What is this fucking nonsense that says we shouldn't be allowed to celebrate the nation in which we are allowed to be proud and enjoy and like? What's wrong with that? I don't. Yeah, you can be proud of it. You can be, you can like it, but don't fucking celebrate it because that's wrong. Why? Never ever have I heard a reason why. that makes any coherent fucking sense. It is no coincidence that the Swedish Democrats, which is a party, basically single issue party, anti-immigration. Yeah, I know their manifesto has a ton of different shit, some of which I agree with, some of which I don't. But yeah, they basically, stop this madness of this insane immigration party in Sweden. Right wing, yeah, not extremely right wing, just right wing. It's not a coincidence that Swedish Democrats mobilizes for the coming church election. I didn't even know the church had elections. Yeah. They know how the church has been used throughout history and how it can be used to confirm a political ideology that makes a difference in people based on skin color, sex, and sexual identification. Well, no, hang on. What's this word? Gay, heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, and all this, whatever. That's what this is. Sexual preference, thank you. And class. Yeah, because, as we know, in a society with 90% atheists, the church plays a huge role in, manifesting and affecting the political ideology, which divides people based on the colour of their skin, their sex and sexual preferences, and class. That's what the church does. For anyone who's not aware, I think Swedish attendance of churchgoers is down by a huge margin. The church is dying in this country, still dying. It might not. Yeah, that's the Christian church anyway. I don't know about fucking mosques and the Muslim faith. If anything, that's on the rise. But they're dying. They'll take anyone they can fucking get. That's why they're trying to be as inclusive as possible. They'll take anyone. Literally anyone. They don't give a shit about the colour of your skin. They don't give a shit about if you're a male or female. They don't give a shit if you're homo or hetero. They don't fucking care. They don't care what class you are. You can be a bum or you could be a fucking billionaire. They don't give a shit. They're dying. They need everyone they can fucking get. I'll tell you who is fucking dividing people based on the colour of their skin, their sex, their sexual preferences, and their class. I'll tell you who fucking does that. That's you fucking people. Because, guys, when you have these artificial quotas, so we in order for us to be equal, we need to hire this amount of fucking brown people, and we need to hire this amount of Asian people, and we need to hire this amount of fucking women. No, you don't. How does that make... That's fucking sexist. That's racist. Because you are based solely on someone's colour of the skin, based solely on what sex someone is. You're giving them an advantage. And you're taking away equal opportunity. That is sexist. That is racist. I mean, what is wrong with you? Do you really think that these artificial quotas is really going to... I mean, it's madness. It's insanity. Sexual identification. No, sexual preference. Who fucking cares? Honestly. Yeah, I know there's a lot of fucking fag jokes, and I know there's a bunch of old schoolers who's like... oh, what are you, a fucking faggot? And, there used to be some fights about that. Like, my grandfather probably cares about that shit. But they're, whatever, fuck them. They're old people. They're idiots, to some extent. And by the way, when I say someone's an idiot, I'm not saying that they're, completely an idiot about everything that they know or talk about or anything like that. I'm saying that about this particular thing, you're an idiot. That's what I'm saying about this issue. You're an idiot, by the way. Just clarify, because I know some people are going to be, oh, you called him an idiot, oh, he's such a mean guy. No, it's just a matter of expression. I'm telling you that I think that this person is an idiot about this issue. So take it for what that is. And the class, yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Oh, God. Class is just... Yeah, no, there's always going to be class wars. There are always going to be conflicts between classes. And there should be. I think the economic inequality throughout the whole world is absurd. I really do. And that's why I was pretty left-wing when I was younger. I thought that, wealth should be redistributed to, for the equality of everyone. Because I bought into this fucking Kool-Aid when I was younger. I don't anymore. People should get what they earn. And, not excessively so. I don't think anyone really needs to have just billions and billions laying in their bank account, just sitting there for no reason, never being used, just stockpiling wealth. That doesn't make any sense to me. But perhaps you got an argument against that, in which case just fucking leave a comment, whatever. The Christian faith is far more radical than we dare to admit. Yeah, Christian faith is far more radical than we dare to. Yeah, no, it's Christian faith. Yeah, if anything, Christian faith today is more moderate than it has ever been. It is far more moderate than Muslim faith, Islam. It is far more moderate than this fucking feminism, which is... God! I hate these people. In the Bible word, we're all one in Christ. Nationality and patriotism is swept under and replaced with internationalism and solidarity, which overrides the differences we ourselves have created. What? Haven't you been... Oh my God. Oh my God. So first you shit on Christian faith, and then you use Christian faith to support your own argument. The text is written by Peter Englund and Helena Myrstener. Well, I should probably say that as it's pronounced in Swedish. The text is written by Peter Englund and Helena Myrstener. Priests. Oh, they're priests, okay. In Malmö Pastorat, whatever the fuck that is in English. It's probably just a priesthood thing. Okay, so that's... okay. So you're priest shitting on your own religion, and then using your own... well, I suppose that is religious logic for you. Self-contradictory, feminist, artificial inclusivity, inequality, and... yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, that's probably first of many to come. First of many rants to come. My God.